And at 10, the house. The FNAF 4 house is one of the most iconic houses of all time. Okay, probably not true, but it's the most iconic house in FNAF at least, and we only get to see it in FNAF 4, at least that's what we thought, until the Curse of Dreadbear DLC for FNAF VR Help Wanted came out. In that DLC's main hub where we select the minigame we want to play, or in my case, have to play, we can see two hills in the distance. Whenever there isn't a giant Dreadbear looking over you, you can see a house on the hills, very similar to how we see the house in FNAF 4 screens. Not only that, but if you turn the game to blacklight mode, press the button on the monitor and then turn around to look at the car behind you for 10 to 15 seconds, you can see Glitchtrap dancing on the hill next to the house. Well, on the other hill. And since people were confused about who Glitchtrap was, this is probably Scott's way of showing that the FNAF 4 house is his and that Glitchtrap is William Afton. But we all know that now 100% thanks to the man in room 1280 from the Fazbear Frights book in the flesh. And at 9, Dark Carnival. And the recently released FNAF spin-off game FNAF Security Breach Fury's Rage, which I just played on the channel, click up in the top right corner to check that out. You fight as one of the 4 Security Breach animatronics against a slew of enemies. These enemies include the clown Springtrap skin from FNAF AR's Dark Carnival event. And not only do we see the character, we can actually see the carnival in the background when they get introduced. At least in the level they get introduced. Clown Springtrap gets introduced in the second level to the game, I believe. And while scrolling through the streets, whenever the background isn't blocked by buildings in the middle, you can see the top of a tent, no doubt meant to be the carnival. Why there are so many Clown Springtraps, I don't know. Why they're after us, I don't know. And why we never see Magician Mangle or Ringmaster Foxy is another mystery. But it's still a nice little detail nonetheless. And at 8, Eyeless Animatronics. FNAF 1 has the famous Eyeless Bonnie screen that can appear during hallucinations or when you die. However, I know some of you may not be aware that FNAF 2 actually has a similar screen, along with 2 others. Yes, FNAF 2 has 3 Eyeless Animatronic screens, all with a 1 in 1,000 chance of appearing. These being Eyeless Toy Bonnie, Eyeless Freddy, and Eyeless Foxy. It's interesting how Bonnie is the only animatronic to have 2 eyeless versions, and Chica doesn't have one at all. I don't know how this applies to the lore, if at all, or if they're just hallucinations that Scott added to make us look for more mysteries within the hallowed halls of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, but it literally is. But it's the only animatronic that doesn't have an eyeless version. It's Chica. That's kind of interesting. Maybe it's because she was the first and has seen everything. Haha, so she has to have eyes because she's seen everything. And at 7, Mask Switch. FNAF Sister Location is one of the more popular games in the series and has quite a lot going for it, basically being a turning point in the series where the game started to revolve around the Afton family even more. However, at the top of the primary control panel through most of the game, you see what will become Ennard's mask. But every so often, for some reason, it changes to Lolbit's head. I don't know why, but it can. And then it will switch back at some point. That's it, really. Don't know why it changes, since it can do so before Ennard is even created, but it happens. And it's kinda hidden if you don't look up there too often, so there you go. And at 6, Lolbit Butters. While the name of the number may entice anyone who is sad that the brawler game was not called Furry's Rage, this is not about any interaction with Lolbit to make butter. Rather, in fact, in FNAF VR we can collect coins that we use to unlock various prizes at the prize counter. Upon collecting all of the coins, an exotic Butters basket will appear on the counter. On the bottom of the basket lies a button for some unknown reason. When pressed, however, you can see Lolbit's screen appear on the monitor up and to the left of the prize counter. It's unknown why this happens, but it's still pretty cool and something not everyone will know about unless they watched someone play through the whole game and collected everything or have done so themselves. But I guess most of you will have either watched or done it yourselves. And there is at least one person who has clicked off this video at this point because it wasn't about Lolbit's butter. Halfway through it at number 5, Secret Poster. This is so secret even I don't know what it looks like, and I can't find any answers or images on Google. The FNAF VR DLC has a barn as its victory screen whenever you complete a game. When you win, you're brought to this barn, basically. However, there are 3 posters that can be one of 3 things, and in the distance there is a 4th secret poster that never changes, but you can't really get a good look at it without boundary breaking. And since I can't do that, I'm forced to remain trying to squint and see what it looks like. I think it has to be some version of Chica for sure. Yo, what is that poster? Is that Chica or something? I think that's Chica. This has been bugging me for so long that I actually might have to get the mod so I can move around just so I can know. It's not lore solving and it's not really that important, but it's a hidden detail that is still hidden to me. It bothers me to my core. And at 4, Radioactive. No, I'm not singing Imagine Dragons. I'm talking about another FNAF AR animatronic. This time talking about Radioactive Foxy from the Wasteland event, I believe it's called. This skin for Foxy makes him glow bright green and gives him a second hook on his right hand, as if he had two heads because radiation mutates things. Get it? Well, the character also has a radioactive symbol on him, and I don't care how crazy this world is, there is no way an animatronic got that symbol put on them with radiation. It's an animatronic, not an organic being. So even the two hooks would be impossible naturally, meaning that this character was created to be radioactive, and that's probably the scariest thing of all. At least Fazbear Entertainment is doing something normal companies do, like dumping toxic waste into animatronics or something like that. This seems more normal than sending out versions of your killer to homes with families inside. With all they've done, it's nice to see them do some actual normal company things. Gotta love capitalism. That's just proper grammar. Get it? Because capital letters? No, just me? Okay. In at 3, coffee. In FNAF VR Help Wanted, you can see multiple animatronics. However, the most interesting one is probably the coolest hidden secret animatronic, and it's Coffee, which isn't even an animatronic from the FNAF series. It's actually from another one of Scott's games which failed, like every other game before FNAF unfortunately, at least until FNAF was successful, then the other games did well also. The game from which Coffee hails is called Desolate Hope, and in that game Coffee is an autonomous service robot designed to tend to the needs of nearby humans. It basically is a sentient coffee machine that actually makes coffee. Welcome to Yog Labs. Coffee can be seen in FNAF 3 if you reload the level enough times, and he will be sitting on your desk, unable to be interacted with, and he won't actually make you coffee, which sucks because, you know, when I'm freaking out when a 60-year-old dude trapped in an animatronic is coming after me, coffee will really settle my nerves. But I'll definitely need it if I'm working from 12 to 6, that's for damn sure. Imagine FNAF, but like real time. Dear God. And at 2, Game Link. This Easter egg was pointed out by MatPat in one of his timeline videos for Ultimate Custom Night, where he started the video spending 10 minutes downloading a fresh copy of both FNAF World and Ultimate Custom Night so that nothing had been unlocked yet. In FNAF World, you are able to dive deep into the game code and visit Old Man Consequences, who will say some things and then ultimately make you drown yourself before you can get out. This reveals a secret ending to the game and gives you a trophy for it. In Ultimate Custom Night, you are also able to visit Old Man Consequences, who tells you to leave the demon to his demons and rest your own soul. However, if you do this, you'll need to drown yourself again to leave the game. Doing this, while never even playing a second of FNAF World though, will unlock the Old Man Consequences trophy, which is odd, but might be Scott's way of saying that the game is still canon. I mean, it did talk about sentient code, and that things in-game can infect the real world, since you lay out the clues for FNAF 3, probably hinting at the fact that the game may be key in solving what the lore is going forward, since we're seeing the same sorts of things emerge. Sentient code, games affecting the outside world, and potentially working its way into ours. Finally, in at number 1, it's me. There are only 2 people who have been able to get this Easter egg to my knowledge, and it involves getting the Curse of Dreadbear DLC and completing a game to be taken to the Victory Barn. There you will find 3 posters reminiscent of the ones from the Alleyway and Pizzeria Simulator. However, this is where the ability to unlock this Easter egg is determined. You need to get 3 clown posters, which is incredibly rare, and I mean incredibly rare. Plus, you need to hit them all with darts, which you only get 4 of, and if you miss 2 of them, you're screwed. I've looked for this Easter egg for hours on both my personal channel during live streams and on the live stream on this channel from before the previous lockdown, since I want to find this myself, and I want to so badly, since if you manage to do this, the barn changes to a seemingly black-like version, where the victory banner changes to read "It's me," and everything starts glowing because of the black light. YouTubers Johnny Blocks and apparently Dawko are the only 2 to have gotten this Easter egg from what I've seen and what I've been told in the comments. Not even MatPat was able to get this, and Eddie VR wasn't really trying. I may have to keep live streaming the game until I find it, but it's going to take me a while, I'm sure, and emotional torment. But this series already does that. And at 10, Springtrap. FNAF Fury's Rage was probably the most fun I've had while playing a FNAF game. No scares, no intense lore to figure out, only a few bits here and there. One of those bits was the inclusion of Springtrap laying on the ground as presented in the FNAF 6 loading screen. The character is interactable and doesn't move, but this begs the question, is this where he was left? Is this the alley that we see him in FNAF 6? And if it is, was the Dark Carnival behind it as it is presented in this game? Either way, whether it is or not, it's a cool Easter egg and serves as further confirmation that the FNAF AR animatronics are canonical within the main game lore. Unless it's in a different spot, then maybe they aren't. Or maybe this is where he was before going to the FNAF 6 location since Henry had to lure him there. I don't know. It can give some implications though. It would be nice to get anything confirmed as canon at this point though. honestly. And at 9, 1985. The security panel code of 1985 from Sister Location revealing images of the FNAF 4 house is not a new thing. This has been known for ages and was used by many to confirm the events of FNAF 4 taking place in 1985. But this begs the question, where did these rooms come from? If this does confirm the events of that game taking place in 1985, why are the houses that we play in during the 8-bit and main gameplay so different? It could be an illusion since we know the animatronics are, but if that was the case, how would the cameras be seeing that? And if these are two different houses, why? And what does that mean for the series overall? Hell, where is the parents' bedroom in the 8-bit house? There is a locked door in the living room, but is that the room? And even if it was, where's the plush trap hall? This is one thing that has always bothered me about that game, honestly. And like, I know, right? Really, out of all things that bother me, that? Yes, it is. And it ate secret animatronics. While not being the main feature of any minigame, the mini arenas actually appear in FNAF VR Help Wanted, in the plush trap darkroom. When loading into the game, you have a chance to see them in one of the doors. This is probably just a distraction tactic used to make things more difficult so you're more likely to get jump scared, but it's still damn well going to work, because it's such a rare thing that I want to look at it more and more. And you can also encounter a Bitty Bap doll in Babies minigame, you know, the one where you need to close the closet doors in the FNAF 4 house, but not for too long, otherwise the plush babies are gonna kill you. Yeah, you can see Bitty Bap near the door on rare occasions, and honestly, it's just kind of freaky. Also, can I just say, that minigame must suck for anyone with pediophobia, which is the fear of dolls. Just solidifies everything that you fear. I still have to beat that game though. Like, I think I'm prepared to play it for a video or a live stream, what have you, but then it actually starts and I instantly regret my decision to put myself in that situation. Like, even if it was to find those animatronics, just no. Instant regret. And it's 87 days. This is fairly well known at this point, but there are some of you who are new fans to the series and don't quite understand how crazy this is. The first FNAF game was released on August 8th, 2014, a day after my friend's birthday nearly 8 years ago. That game was a hit after being discovered by MatPat as well, who really introduced many of us, if not most of us, to the series. The game did end up getting a sequel, obviously in the form of the FNAF 2 prequel, which was released on November 11th, 2014. While you may not understand the intensity of that is hella quick for a game to be made from the start, even with the existing mechanics already in place, especially with all the new things we got in that game. However, the game was released 87 days after the first, which to anyone who knows the slightest bit of FNAF lore will instantly have alarms go off. 87 days? Like the bite of 87? Yes, exactly. That's just absolutely bonkers. Not only did he make the game within that time, but he released it perfectly. I still don't know if it's a coincidence, but knowing Scott, this is the first in a long series of lore teasers and hints, and I find that absolutely astounding. And at 6, the box. The FNAF 4 box has, like the bite of 87, been a pain in the ass to all FNAF fans. And those who try to explain things have been struggling for a while to explain what could be inside the infamous box. However, FNAF 6 might have given us the answer that we were looking for with its final speech, Henry's final speech, from the true ending of that game. Take a look.
That you are trapped. Your lust for blood has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of children in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near.
Did you see it? The layout of the FNAF 6 pizzeria is oddly similar to the layout of the FNAF 4 box. And stories from Candy Cadet talking about 5 things becoming one thing and then getting put into a box makes sense of this as well. 5 animatronics, however you want to count it. Baby, Springtrap, Molten Freddy, the Puppet and Lefty, or Molten Freddy is most of them. However it works out, even if you include your character, 5 things are becoming one fire in the smoke that is Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. While William may have escaped, Henry sticks around. Maybe that's what the box is meant to represent. The box being reality and William being able to escape from it, become a freaking virus, and then infect people's brains. Who knows, really? No, seriously, tell me who knows, because I need to know. Halfway through into number 5, the job. Going off this FNAF 6 existentialism, who was the job meant for? In that same speech, we hear Henry talk about us finding the job even though it wasn't meant for us, and that there was a way out for us planned even though we don't want it. But him saying that it wasn't meant for us implies that there was someone who it was meant for. But who? If it was just anyone, he wouldn't have said that it wasn't meant for us, because it wasn't meant for anyone. Him saying that implies there was someone specific that he had in mind for this task, but who was it? Does Henry have a son, and he was going to use the speech at the end to say goodbye rather than scold the animatronics? Or was it meant for someone he trusts, perhaps his wife if she's still around? I like the idea that it's his son, who we never ended up seeing, but why wouldn't he just ask him instead of putting the ad out normally? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know down below. In at 4, El Chip. In the Security Breach GeForce RTX trailer, we see many things, from the back rooms to the food court. And in that food court, we see a shot of its Mexican restaurant, with a statue of El Chip from FNAF 6 on the left, some cacti decorating the place, some air hockey tables in the back, presumably some other arcade games as well. That's probably the Fazcade so that the kids can play while the parents finish eating. But we also see animatronics fly past us as they go off to serve some food. But as they pass us, we see an arcade game having something to do with El Chip in the bottom left of the screen. I can't quite tell what the game is, all I could make out is El Chip, but it should be some form of pinball or something, based on the shape of the machine at least. If you didn't already know though, El Chip is a Mexican themed beaver animatronic and is the mascot of El Chip's Fiesta Buffet in the Fazbear universe, and is a purchasable animatronic in FNAF 6's catalog. He will actually interrupt you with advertisements for his restaurant and Ultimate Custom Night, where you will need to mute him before alerting sound-sensitive animatronics, and the character is presumably based on Chipper from Chipper and Sons Lumber Co., another one of Scott's games, where the idea of FNAF actually originated because someone said the characters looked animatronic. Nice little homage. Getting close to the end in a number 3, Hospital Room. One of the common theories about what was going on in FNAF 4 is that what we were experiencing is in the mind of Crying Child, who is laying in the hospital because of a bite and who will die at the end of the game. This theory was first brought on by the Easter eggs of an IV, a vase of flowers, and a jar of pills that can be visible next to the child's bed when the screen is brightened, because we all know how much we loved to brighten screens. And now we're digging through source code and linking details in books. My, how far we've come. Getting kids to actually read. The vase, flowers, and IV are no doubt referencing the idea that we are truly waiting in the hospital and in a coma trying to cheat death. And thanks to the flatline we hear at the end of the game, however, we know we either don't succeed or are taken off the machine. This led to the idea that the whole game series is a dream, which was proven false thanks to the joke April Fool's Day mechanics of Nightmare Fredbear and Ultimate Custom Night. And at 2, VR Sisters. The VR Sisters, as far as I know, were introduced into the FNAF series in Security Breach Fury's Rage. They're the bosses of Stage 1 and are fought again in Stage 3 as regular enemies. But my question is, who are they? They don't have names, they don't talk, they don't do anything other than fight us, but they wear VR headsets and have a kinda similar theme to the FNAF AR arcade animatronic skins, you know, VR Toy Freddy and High Score Chica being the most like this, and I mean like the blue and yellow grid patterns they have going on their arms and legs, but that could also just be leggings and sleeves and not their actual body. The thing is, we don't know who they are, if they're human or if they're animatronic, and at this point it's up for debate and I don't even know if it matters in the long run. It could totally be for nothing. These characters could mean nothing to the story. We could see them in the full Security Breach or they could fade away into nothing. It bothers me. Clearly. Finally, in at number 1, MatPat. I've mentioned this in other lists, but MatPat, or at least the Game Theory YouTube channel, is actually canon in the FNAF series, thanks to the Fazbear Frights books. I can't quite remember which one, if someone knows maybe they can tell me in the comments, but at one point a character says that's just a theory, and then the book proceeds to describe it as like their favorite YouTuber, or something like that. Basically confirming that MatPat, game theory, film theory, or food theory exist in that universe, since he says it at the end of every video. But like, do you think it's food theory? Because that would be hilarious. He would have definitely done some theory on Fazbear Entertainment if it's actually food theory. Because like, I mean, he tested Chuck E. Cheese pizza, right? So maybe the equivalent of that video in the FNAF universe is going to Freddy Fazbear's. I mean, that would be hilarious. I'd watch that, even in that universe. But I mean, like, he could probably get sued into the ground for that. Or maybe he'd just be the one that they also blame for their reputation like they did with Scott's equivalent in the universe. Who knows at this point? I don't, and I want answers.